I still added 5 team members, and I almost finished Target for my car that month, but I missed it. But that's okay because I was angry in March. I was like, I missed my car. I should have it next month. And so in March, I just worked twice as hard. I added 5 team members, went back on Target for my car, and as April 1st, I submitted for DIQ. 3 months later, I finished DIQ and earned my car and debuted as a sales director. That's kind of my story. I'm so excited that you guys are all here, and hopefully I'll get to meet all of you guys and just take whatever you can out of this. I have a quick question. Yes. Can you tell us how it was picking your first pre-Mary Kay project? It was the perfect timing for me because I had been in Mary Kay for just a year, and I was having a really tough time with my family because I was the main breadwinner in my family, and my husband got a job kind of comparable to mine when I had quit, but it just really hurt us just going off one income for a year. So we were just really in the hole and really struggling, and it wasn't that I wasn't making money, it was just that it was gone before I even touched it. And then our vehicles that we had, both of our radiators burst on both of our cars, so we were down no vehicle. And I knew I had this car coming, and I was just waiting and having such a hard time. So when I got that phone call that my car was here, me and Amber were sitting at the airport on our way back from Vegas. We were hanging out at Carol Anton's house for the weekend for a trip that we earned. And, I'm just kind of like venting to her about how I'm like so upset with everything. And then I get that phone call, and I'm sitting like in the cafeteria at the airport, and I literally said, oh my God, and he was like, what's wrong? What's happening? I'm like, my car is here. And it was so exciting. And going and picking up my car, it wasn't like outside in the parking lot. It was like inside in this like glass room inside the building. And all my, a lot of our girls were there waiting for us. And the guy like handed me the keys, and we just had to take pictures. And it was just so unreal to like turn on that car. It has a full gas tank. I literally signed my name like 6 times on a couple pieces of paper. That was it. And I got to leave with my car. And so it was so unreal, and it was so, because it takes hard work, and it takes determination, and it takes overcoming those times where you're like, I'm so, disappointed or things like that. It just takes pushing a little bit harder through that. And so when you get things like that, something that you can like touch and pull to show how hard you worked, it's really nice. It's really, really nice. And it kind of puts everything together. So. Awesome. And now we're going to hear from our fabulous person waiting for a Cadillac to arrive. The second Cadillac will be here in any minute, which is so fun. So Amber O'Neill Gray, she's fantastic. You'll love her to death. Woo!
Is that the last minute person? I have been in this for 7 years. Let's see. I lived in China for 3 years. I got a teaching credential, and I moved to China to go teach in China. Then married my husband there. And then a year after we got married, we moved here back to Chico, which is where I'm from. And I started teaching. I was teaching out in Durham. Loved teaching. That's what I was doing in China, and that's what I got my credentials for. Really enjoyed it a lot, but the second year of teaching out of Durham, you know how they keep laying off any teachers in the room? Past teachers. They laid off like almost every year, right? And then you're rehired. And so they were able to rehire me the second year by splitting me at the middle school and the high school. And so I had classes here and classes here, was running back and forth, and it was crazy, and the administration there was crazy. And so at the end of that year, I got laid off again, and it wasn't a situation to go back to. And so I had started Mary Kay 9 months prior to that. And I was a tomboy, totally, grew up playing sports, and it just wasn't, stop laughing. Amy knows. Veronica knows. Yeah. It wasn't my thing at all. And so I didn't wear makeup. In fact, Stephanie Arbaugh, who's my senior sales director, who's in Tennessee now, apparently, I don't remember this, but apparently she asked me when she signed up for Mary Kay if she could give me a makeover. And I was like, I don't want to wake up. And she goes, oh, okay, I got this one, right? Like, we do skincare. I'm sure you take really good care of your skin. I was like, you gotta wash my face. And she was like, okay. And she was scared to ask me anything yet, so she didn't ask me anything for 2 years. And I don't think I even really knew that she was doing Mary Kay, but we were friends and went over to her house for breakfast one morning, and she was in DIQ, and I had no idea. But we were just hanging out, and we started chatting about ways to make a little extra money. My husband's a massage therapist. He had some extra space in his office, and I was trying to fill it up with something that, you know, people could buy as they walked in and out. And she goes, oh, you should put Mary Kay up in there. I'm not allowed to do that, just so you know. But I was like, yeah, I don't know, makeup and massage. And she goes, no, there's skincare, there's body lotions, there's all this stuff. And I was like, I don't know. So we're like literally walking on her door, and I go, well, how much is it? Oh, it's only $100. I look at my husband, and he's like, sure. So I give her $100. And she was like, okay, hold on. And she went, she got the agreement, and I'm like, I just thought I'd just give you $100, right? And she goes, well, it's $117.55 after tax and shipping. And I was like, seriously? And I seriously almost just didn't do it because I wanted to just hand her $100 and be done with it, and a little bit impulsive. And so we dug out the extra money, gave it to her, signed up. She gave me a CD of Faye Alvin that talked about inventory. I took that, and she's like, you don't have to do anything. I just wanted you to have the information, get like $800 worth of free stuff. So just listen to at least have the information, you know what's available. I was like, oh, okay. So I remember going back to my apartment and sticking in that CD and just listening to it as I was doing whatever. And by the end of it, I was like, oh, crap. I didn't even think about inventory, And so I decided, okay, well, there's these different packages. I'll do the 1,800. So she came over and she helped me put it together, and she just kept asking me, okay, and what else do you want? And what else do you want? And I was like, I don't know, should I have 3 of those? And we just went through the whole catalog of whatever else I was going to get. And it ended up being 2,400. And again, I was like, ah! Okay, fine, let's just do it. Okay? And then it ended up being 2,800 for tax shipping. So we're like, what on earth am I getting myself into? I just won't tell my husband, right? Like, we had settled on the 1,800. We said, okay, we'll do that. And so went ahead and did the 2,800 after tax and shipping before my starter kit ever arrived. Okay, so I didn't have my products. I had never tried the products. That's kind of not true. Maybe. Anyways. Yeah, so I had no experience with it whatsoever. Didn't know what I was getting myself into, but I knew that if I was going to put something in front of my husband and he was going to let people try to buy it, I better have 3, right? One to sample, and one to sell, and then one to sell while we're reordering the one that we sold. Right. And so I got 3 of most everything, and then ended up realizing, okay, I can't have a store here. So we just put a bunch of samples out. And I went out to dinner with my catalog after I set it all up really cute, and I ran into a girlfriend that I hadn't seen in a long time. I was like, just got all this stuff, no idea what it is, let's go play. And we did, and then an hour later, she left time and spent almost $100, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. Right? And nobody had to sell me on it. I was really a very skeptical person about home businesses, and so nobody had to sell me because I already just bought it all. And so I was really just open-minded. This stuff is so good. And so, making almost $100 just right off the bat, not even knowing what it was, I was like, let's go find some more, girlfriends. And so I did just kind of fit it in where it fit. Mom throw a party, throwing the stuff around. And so I started to play with it. It started to be fun for me. I started over the course of that 6 months probably learning how to be a girl, learning how to do my makeup, learning I should probably pluck my eyebrows. Getting out of the farmer boots and the one zigzag skirt that I wore for a long time. I almost quit because they told me I had to wear a skirt. Veronica, I went to the first meeting with her for orientation, and I was in jeans, and she said skirt, and I was just, I'm out of here. And so obviously I got over that. And long story, I tell you my start because I feel like some people, you want to know how we got into it, right? Well, from there, getting laid off from teaching, I made a commitment to go into DIQ. I worked my butt off, you guys. I worked my butt off to get into DIQ and then through DIQ, and did that 7 months after getting laid off. Okay, from there, just being consistent work, learning how to fit that in, right? Making sure that I have the tools in place for my personality that gets me where I need to go in the right time frame. And so from there, became a director, earned the first car. A year later, earned the second car. 2 years after that, earned the first Cadillac. And in June, finished our second one. And have the most amazing unit ever. So raise your hand if you can. That's the
And one of the things that she didn't share, but I'm going to share because I just had a lot of this for my family. She told she got laid off her job and committed to becoming a director 7 months later. Well, in that time, her very first year in Mary Kay, it wasn't even a whole year, because she decided like, in September, October, just like around the same time.
Yeah.
And she was, not only did the Queen's Court of Personal Sales and was recognized on the national stage, she was the #1 consultant in our whole ancillary.
So you guys have time, because I signed up literally like 4 or 5 days ago, 7 years ago, and I was able to do Queen's Court of Sales. So you guys all got that.
Yeah. So the next person you get to hear from is, oh my gosh, I love this girl. She's so fabulous. And her kids are like the cutest things ever. Oh my gosh.
Are you talking about me again?
I always like being the person that put there. Oh my gosh. But I don't get to see her kids. I just see them on Facebook. So that's how I stalk her. No, she has 4 amazing kids, and she's just like love on eggs. Maybe that too. Love on legs. Love her to death. She is just so fun, and love every time I get a moment to share with her. So this is Morgan Kirstein. So.
I don't know about love on eggs. I might have anything else after that. That might have covered it. Well, my name is Morgan. I've had my Mary Kay business for 6.5 years now. I've been a sales director for 3. And my story actually, as Amber was talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, like our stories mirror each other maybe a little more than I ever realized. But before I became a consultant, I was a stay-at-home mom. I had 2 kids. I had a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. And if you do the math, that means they're less than 2 years apart. They're 19 months. And my dream before that, I worked in special education, and I thought, I am not going to be taking care of everyone else's kids and like managing their behavior. I've got all this training. I'm just going to make my kids amazing. Like, so you're laughing if you're a mom because you get it. And you're like, that doesn't work that way. So after being home for over 2 years, because I stopped working when my son was born, he was great, and my daughter came along, and I was miserable. She was colicky, she had dairy intolerances, she threw up every time she nursed, so I changed my clothes like 7 times a day. I had no reason to wear skirts or get dressed up or put makeup on, and if I did get makeup on, I was lucky to get like a coat of mascara, and that was about it. And so Mary Kay was not even in my realm of thinking. Like, it was not something I even thought of as a possibility ever. But I did have a girlfriend from high school who had moved out of the area. She was in Southern California, and she was coming back on some vacation. She's a teacher, go figure, right? Teachers keep ending up in Mary Kay. And her mom still lived in town, and her mom was a teacher with my husband. And she sent the flyer home with her mom. The mom gave it to my husband, and it stayed in his car because he didn't give it to me. And so I never knew about it in the party, really. He kind of said, well, I have this thing for you. It's out in the car. I never got it, and I was, bleh. So I just, didn't go get it. She courted me at church. It was on a Sunday. I remember it vividly, okay? It was February. It was rainy. It was cold. It was my birthday month, and I was still not happy because I had this, miserable baby at home. And she said, you're coming to my party, right? My mom said you're coming. And I'm like, what on earth would make you think I would want to come to a Mary Kay party? Like, really? Like, what about me says? Because I was Amber. I was not in a skirt or a dress. I did not wear a stitch of makeup. Most of the time, I had, spit up down one side, or I had a jacket covering the spit up, or just work cloths on both shoulders. So I'm like, what is she thinking? And so I was like, oh, but we're in church, and I want to be nice. So I'm like, sure. And no jokingly, I asked every single one of my friends as I walked out of church, oh my gosh, she's having this thing, you should come with me. me. Oh no, and they're like, no, we're busy, no, I'm not going, no, whatever, nobody would go with me. So I did what any mom of a newborn does. I went home from church, ate lunch, and fell asleep on the couch because my husband was home. That's really the only reason I got to fall asleep. And he woke me up and he's like, aren't you going to that thing? And it's dark outside and it's raining and the party started an hour before. And I was like, I think this is my out. Like, I think I don't have to go. And so I sent her a text. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I fell asleep. I'm not going to make it. Oh, no worries. Come, I'll catch you up. And I'm like, so if you're a consultant, you've ever said that, like, okay. So I went and fast forward, my vision of Mary Kay was so skewed, and I'm sure a lot of you kind of felt that way when you came into it as well. You had no idea what Mary Kay had to offer. And I showed up, and the oldest person at that party was her mom, who really isn't that much older than I am, like, because her daughter's younger anyway, like maybe 15 years, 20 years older. And so I tried everything, you know, that comes in the starter kit, and she really didn't tell me what to do. So if you're that person who's brand new, I know we have a lot of brand new consultants. If you're that person who's like, I don't know anything about the product, I don't know how to tell people to do it. She didn't tell me anything. She squirted stuff in my tray, gave me a card. I wiped my entire face with oil-free eye makeup remover. And so then I went through all the steps. She gave me a color card, and you know there's directions on the color card for when your starter kit. So she didn't tell me how to put it on. She's like, here's some applicators. And I put it on. I'm like, whoa, that's amazing. I've been hiding under there all these years. And so she sold me on it without calling me on it, ladies. I bought the basic skincare set, and I bought a filled compact that day. Walked away. Never spending a dime on myself because I was a mom and we take care of everybody else. We don't take care of ourselves. And so fast forward from there, she came and held a party for me 2 months later, and I signed up 2 days later. Her director came to a sharing appointment at my house, and I was the one that I was in sweatpants and like gross mom shirt because I probably already changed 3 times that day. I had a baby on one hip. I had a toddler running around. And it was basically like, okay, so what do I lose? Like, look at this. Look at this, okay? And so what do I have to lose? And it just happened it was April, and they were doing a start. If you signed up in April that year and you placed a qualified order, they redeemed your $100 for your starter kit. It's never happened since, so I'm really sorry about that. But so I did it. What do I have to lose? And I was like, Amber, I was kind of too dumb to doubt, is what I say. That I signed up. They same thing. Listen to this inventory thing. And so I listened to it, and I was like, oh, well, Star Consultant sounds great. Let's do that. How do I do that? How do I, you know? And I just kept doing what my director told me to do. And I know you ladies are going to hear that like your entire business. Okay, oh, yes, I know. Do what my director tells me to do. But do it. Just be too dumb to doubt. It took me, after I started, took me a few years to decide I wanted to be a director. But it really, my business brought me something that I didn't know was in my starter kit, because my husband was a teacher. He still is a teacher. He's a music teacher. And music teachers in California tend to lose their jobs very quickly and maybe without notice because they don't have to be there. They're not regulated by the state. And so they can just chop them. And so he was going to these meetings all the time to fight for jobs. And I was just getting bitter and bitter and bitter and bitter because I had nothing for myself. And so Mary Kay gave me something that was for me. It gave me purpose beyond being just a mom and a cook and a maid and all those things that we are as women. And so fast forward all the way 6.5 years later, we now have 4 kids, and that's it for anybody who's wondering. But they're amazing. And you'll hear women say it tonight, that the kids that grow up in Mary Kay grow up differently than kids who don't get to experience that positivity in their life. So I'm thankful for the women in my Mary Kay family who invited me up from Yuba City to take part tonight. So thank you for that. And I'm getting my call because I could go on forever. But thank you, ladies, for coming. I promise you, TJ with a Purpose will change your business and your life. So just be open. You're going to hear something from somebody tonight that you're going to be like, okay, so thank you all for coming. You're amazing. Okay, can I do one more thing? Okay, because I just wanted to say it, but it wasn't about me, so I had to it's about Amber. And so there's this really awesome thing in Mary Kay called the Adoptee Program. Anybody part of that? Anybody not go to their own director's meeting? Okay, so here's the thing. My director at the time was performing. Okay, in Yuba City, she met and she goes, but there was 2 directors in Yuba City. And after a while, I was like, this would make more sense. Like, I got kids at home to stay in Yuba City and go to their meetings. And Amber, as I believe a red jacket, came and spoke at one of those meetings that I was at, and she was like talking about how she earned her cleanest part of sales ring and how it's so easy and she just got it cleaned to the shoulder, and the jeweler was like, wow, this ring is amazing, where'd you get it? This is awesome. And I was like, well, she can do it, I can do it. Like, that's no, I got married at the port of sale because Amber came and told me her story. That was the year I did my reading. And then debuted as a director and wrote for Sweetheart. And
Awesome.
yeah. So thank you, Amber. For my time.
All right, so we're going to have a little commercial, and Becky's going to share some of her favorite things.